guaranteed. Eric?
Mike, time to make history. Players in Circa Million make 5 picks against the spread each week with quarterly and full season payouts.
Circa Survivor entries choose one team each week with no point spread. The last one standing wins it all.
We have $21 million on the line. Are you in? Visit circasports.com for details.
What is up? Live in an airport. Or as live in an airport, I should say. It's bigger than 12. I'm on my way to Dublin. I think the first ever bigger than 12 from an airport. I'm like not in a food court, but I'm in a restaurant. It's the only place I could find a table, an outlet.
It sounds, like I said before the show, it sounds like you are in a Chuck E. Cheese and there's just screaming children everywhere.
I promise wherever I'm at is better than a Chuck E. Cheese, but it can't be that much better.
Yeah, you're at the Philadelphia airport. I don't know if it's better than the Chuck E. Cheese.
Dude, so we get out of the Philly airport, or the plane into the Philly airport, and it's one of those airports where you get outside, and it's in the middle of August, and somehow it is still like 70 degrees, misting, cloudy outside, overcast. Like, this place is exactly as depressing as I envisioned it to be.
That is the total opposite of what I just came from Houston literally like an hour ago, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. I was standing outside and my shirt was just soaked. I was sweating because of all the humidity. It was unbelievably hot.
It was like 90 degrees before I left this morning in Des Moines. And then the plane, this is the hottest plane ride I've ever been on.
That's the worst.
It was so hot. I took my sweatshirt off. I was still sweating. The little notches at the top on the ceiling were not working. It was brutal. So I hope my trip to Dublin is a little smoother and a little cooler. I purposely got 4 hours of sleep last night just so that I could be exhausted tonight and sleep my way to Dublin. We land at 8 a.m. on Tuesday. So my goal, I've got like an hour left in some movie. My goal is to pop a bunch of melatonin, finish the movie, and hopefully sleep all the way to Ireland. We'll see, though.
Your vacation is starting and mine pretty much just ended, so we're kind of flip-flopped here.
Yeah, so we apologize if the background noise for me is a bit annoying. I'll mute myself when I'm not talking as much as possible to make it bearable for the folks at home. But thanks for supporting Bigger Than 12. We are sponsored and presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. Now is as good of time as ever to go and hit up Tim Hawkins and his team. Get your finances in check, your retirement plans all set. No matter what stage of life you're in, Tim Hawkins has you covered. And because of Tim Hawkins, people are able to do stuff like this and take a trip to Ireland to go support the Cyclones. You can go do the same thing. Give Tim Hawkins a visit at his Ankeny office. That is, again, WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. So today we're just going to preview a little bit of the Iowa State K-State game in Ireland, and also Kansas plays a Week 0 game against Fresno State. But first, we've got a little bit of breaking news out of the Big 12, and it is the team that is the hottest topic entering the season. Texas Tech running back Quentin Joyner has torn his ACL, according to On3 Sports. He's a transfer from USC and is expected to miss the entire 2025 season. Just a massive blow for the Red Raiders.
Yeah, that's a tough blow because he was an explosive playmaker for them. I still think they were going to use a running back by committee anyways during the regular season, so it is a big loss, but I think what Texas Tech was able to do in the transfer portal, beef up their offensive line, I don't think it's going to be a season-ending, groundbreaking loss for them where, this is going to affect them not making the Big 12 championship game. I still think they're going to be okay because of what they were able to do on the offensive line. And plus, like I said, I think they were going to use a running back by committee anyway this season. But at the same time, it's also going to put a little bit more pressure on some of these other running backs coming in. And, of course, Baron Morton and his wide receivers, they're going to have to produce a little bit more this year.
Yeah, I agree with you on the surface where it's not that big of a deal, but I do think it is just it's a microscope into how exaggerated everything is going to be that happens to Texas Tech this season. Because you lose your running back that you probably spent a lot of money on, and instantly it's like, oh, well, there's 5% of our massive investment, or here, that's 3% of our massive investment gone. And that's not the right way to look at it, but I think there are Tech fans that will probably look at that, and there's also probably certain SEC schools that don't like Texas Tech, like Texas and Texas A&M, that will look at that and like, oh, they had it coming, they shouldn't have spent all that money. And in reality, it just sucks for Tech. And I do agree, it's probably not the biggest loss they could possibly have on the entire team, but one injury could stack into 2 injuries, could stack into 3, and then all of a sudden, this dream season that they envision might not come to fruition. And I don't think that'll be because of one player, but it is a bit alarming when that happens before the first game even is played.
If Baron Morton went down, I'd be a lot more concerned about it, but a running back, it's not like last season if Taj Brooks went down for Texas Tech, I would really worry. But what they have this season, I don't think one player is necessarily going to make or break them offensively unless it was Baron Morton.
Yeah, that's fair. I just figured it popped up right before we were about to record, so we should touch on it. Really the first major injury we've had this Big 12 season. Of course, Jake Retzloff leaving BYU. That and Joyner are about the 2 players in the summer/fall camp that will not be playing for their respective teams this season. Let's get to the Farm O-Geddon a little bit. I have talked a ton about this game on Cyclone Fanatic. I went on a K-State podcast. I think I'm pretty up to speed on what has to go right for either side to win this game. What do you think is the biggest key to this game, Derek?
I think there's so many for me. Obviously, I think everybody wants to talk about the quarterback battle between Rocco Becht and Avery Johnson. And look, I think you can make a strong argument that we have a top 5 quarterback battle in the Big 12 between these 2 quarterbacks. And that's great. Like those are the things that are going to steal the headlines. And they should. Avery Johnson is a fantastic player. As you know, last week I picked him as my Big 12 Player of the Year. Rocco Becht, no slouch either, one of the best in the Big 12 for a reason. Probably as far as pro prospects go in the conference for quarterbacks, he's probably your number 1 choice. So just an outstanding quarterback battle that I'm expecting here. However, I think it's going to be more dependent on Rocco's arm than it's going to be with Avery. Like with Avery, I feel like his legs could be the difference in this game, where with Rocco, I think he is going to have to use his arm more than Avery because of what Kansas State is defensively, especially up front. I think if you look at Kansas State's defensive line, across the board, they can go too deep. You can make a case that they are the best defensive line in the Big 12. And I think even with Iowa State does have a veteran offensive line, I think they have, over 120-something starts between all 5 of them. I still think Iowa State's going to struggle to run the football. So for me, it's going to come down to Iowa State being able to throw the football, because the one weakness of this Kansas State defense, even going back to last season, was that secondary. And then plus, with Iowa State, of course, Jake, you lose Jalen Noel and why am I blanking on his name already? Not Xavier Hutchinson.
He's your receiver,
I know, he's
Higgins.
my receiver, Jaden Higgins and Noel. I apologize there. I just had a complete brain fart. I kept thinking Xavier Hutchinson, but who also plays for the Texans.
Do you say Noel on purpose?
It's Noel. It's Noel, but I know it's Noel. I say Noel.
I was wondering if this is like a Chris Williams thing, saying words wrong on purpose, or Andy Fales. Fales will. It's one of the best ongoing bits where, like 99% of the times that he says Des Moines, he'll just say Des Moines. Or
no, I will not say that.
On the corner of the Waukee side of West Des Moines. But yeah, back to your point. I think if this game does come down to Avery Johnson's arm, that is a very good thing for Iowa State. Because there is a world where the game comes down to Avery and his arm, and K-State wins. Avery made some really big throws and aims last year. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He had that gutsy fourth down at like the 40-yard line where they scored. They also hit a big deep ball over the top, but they also made Avery pay. He had a couple bad turnovers. He didn't play great. So I think if you're able to put him in a spot to have to go win the game with his arm, that starts with stopping the run, and that is no easy task. But when Iowa State's beat K-State in the past, it's been because they have done that. There's a lot of years where Deuce Vaughn would come into Jack Trice Stadium, or even before that, I'm blanking on the guy, and they'd be averaging 125, 130 yards a game and be shut down for the day. And that is the key. Dylan Edwards is really good. I think he's thought of the next guy in Manhattan, but as of now, he's not proven to be DJ Giddens. He hasn't proven to be Deuce Vaughn. So if Iowa State and the maybe unproven defensive line and the deep linebackers are able to just limit K-State to like a C or a C-plus rushing game, that absolutely could be the difference to make Avery try and make some big throws in the fourth quarter, as we've seen him struggle to do that so far early in his K-State career.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I know Iowa State has a ton of transfers in on the defensive line, which is last season, I mean, they struggled to get a rush on the quarterback. Like, that was a huge problem for them. But I will say with Kansas State's offense, ironically enough, I think the weakness of Kansas State's offense is their offensive line. So yeah, having Dylan Edwards back there is fantastic. He's a fantastic running back. But I also think they may have some trouble running the football as well, which is why, like, I think the arm talent of both Rocco and Avery Johnson in this game are going to be key. Now, the one thing that I mentioned earlier about these two quarterbacks is Johnson has that ability to take off and run. His athleticism is off the charts, as we all know. That's why I think he is really that complete package if he's able to put it all together, because not many quarterbacks, not just in the Big 12, in the entire country, have his skill set when it comes to throwing the football and running it as well. So I think that's where Iowa State, or for me, that's where they're going to have to win it. It's going to be in the trenches. And when you're on offense, I think you're going to have to have your receiver step up. Sewell, Townsend, you got to get Bramer involved at tight end. So I think you're going to really have to attack that Kansas State secondary early and often. Maybe you get pass happy a little bit at first to set up your run game, because I think they're going to have a hard time running the football. But I think for Iowa State offensively, that's where I really want to see them excel. I want to see them take their shots deep. Don't be afraid to spread it around.
Last year, Iowa State ran the ball so well in this game, which is crazy considering the reason K-State's defensive line is thought of so highly is because they return so many guys. And Iowa State had a lot of success in Jack Trice Stadium. What was that? It could just be the fact that, for whatever reason, Abu Sama is really, really good against K-State. He had probably his best game of the year last season in that game. So if the Iowa State run game shows up, I don't want to say the running backs because it's a team effort between them and the offensive line. If they're able to show up and do it even close to what they did last year, if Hansen and Sama combine, I don't know, 120, 130 yards, I really, really like Iowa State's chances in this game. Where I would fear is if they struggle. Iowa State's running game has struggled early in the season in the past. If they're not able to get themselves into any 2nd and 6s, 2nd and 5s, and they're consistently out of 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, that's where I would really, really worry about this game. And I don't know what to think quite yet, because I have the rule where I'm not passing judgment on the Iowa State offensive line until I see it. I can hear a lot out of fall camp, and I can see the returning starts coming back. But the fact of the matter is, there's really only been 1 year in the Matt Campbell era where the offensive line has been consistently good from a run blocking perspective over the course of the season. I think they've got what it takes. I really like their interior offensive line. Tyler Miller's a great right tackle. James Neal has had some moments, but he's going to need to improve at left tackle. That's where not only this game, but the whole early season comes down is if the Iowa State offensive line can be a C+ from the jump, I really like their chances to start 4-0. But if they're bad, the start of the season could be bad.
Yeah, and like I've said, they are going to get tested early on with this Kansas State defensive line. Like it is a really, really good defensive line. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I feel like maybe we look past this a lot, I think, because really for the Big 12 standpoint, we don't play in these kind of games. The field. That is always my concern. Anytime you play on these soccer fields, I feel like in the third, fourth quarter, the traction, the footing gets really, really bad. It gets like that muddy feel to it because just grass is just flying everywhere. So I want to mention that as well because I always feel like that's a problem. I can remember last year with Georgia Tech and Florida State playing in that game. Towards the end of the fourth quarter there, that field was absolutely, they were just sliding around. And especially with Georgia Tech and Florida State, they both love to run the football, so they were kind of slipping and sliding all over the place. And then between these two teams, I just mentioned focusing in on the trenches. You know, when you have that many large men stomping around in one particular area on a soccer field, bad things usually happen after a certain time period. So that's another thing. I want to kind of keep an eye on the field conditions as well in this game because that might factor in who's able to run the football and who's not.
That right there makes me think advantage Iowa State for two different reasons. So I went on a K-State podcast last week called Cocaine Willie. Bunch of good guys. I really like them. And what they talked about, they asked me, and they were concerned if there's any sort of precipitation in Ireland because K-State has really struggled in bad field conditions in the past, whether it be the snow game where Abu Sama almost ran for 300 yards, or even last year, the Tulane game, they won, but it was ugly. The field was wet the entire game. They lost to Houston in the rain. The BYU game had some rain. So they told me that they were concerned on their end if there's precipitation. And then you factor in, I didn't even think about the soccer field being different. I would think that's advantage Iowa State because they're used to playing on grass. Last year they played in so many night games where it was just covered in dew. The field wasn't in great shape because of the conditions. So that's good perspective. I hadn't really thought about that yet.
I feel like it's just any time with these college games, like we don't get a ton of college games in these soccer stadiums, but you see the NFL, like how many times have they gone to Germany, to England, to Mexico, and the field conditions there have been so poor. I mean, hell, the one year in Mexico, I think the Rams and the 49ers, whoever it was, they just flew back. They didn't even want to play on it. And then, of course, we have these games in Germany every single year now at the NFL. I think they're doing 2 games. And I feel like every time I have to sit there and watch them, the field conditions just get so bad towards the end of the game where everybody's just kind of sliding around, where it's almost like you are playing on snow or just in the rain, even if it's not raining.
Awesome. Well, what's your game pick for the Farm O-Geddon?
I got Kansas State. Right now, I just feel more confident about where Kansas State is as a team. Again, I'm putting a lot of stock into Avery Johnson, putting it all together, as kind of I mentioned last week on the show. So I'm putting a lot of stock into Avery Johnson's legs in this game, being the difference for Kansas State's offense here. And then plus, like I've said before, I think Kansas State up front is going to make Iowa State throw the football. And I'm not sure if they're quite ready in week 1 to do that. Maybe, if this game was week 5, 6, 7, wherever it may be on the schedule, I think I would feel better about where Iowa State's chances are. But this being a game right off the bat, I think I have to favor Kansas State in this one.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about our preseason polls last week, and I picked K-State to win the league. And a lot of that is based on them winning this game. So I'm going K-State 27, Iowa State 24. I hope I'm wrong, though.
You're repping.
I'm spending this. I'm on my way to Ireland. I'm going to the game. I'm working the game, and man, I'm hoping for a happy flight home.
Yeah, no, I'm just worried about all the shit that I'm going to get for forgetting Jaden Higgins' name now. But hey, you know what? when my
bad, man.
NFL team has 3 Iowa State wide receivers on it, sometimes it's okay to get the names mixed up. And from what it all looks like now, I mean, they're all 3 going to be there this season, by the way, which is going to be incredible.
Yeah, after Mechie got traded. Well,
Exactly.
you better go beg
insane.
for forgiveness to Jaden Higgins.
I will.
Let's thank Freedom Tire. They are still doing their tire giveaway. Go to iowaeverywhere.com, sign up for a giveaway. See if you can get 4 free tires, and if you win, you're also able to give 4 free tires to a charity of your choice. Freedom Tire locations in Ames, Altoona, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. They're a great local business. They support us, so you should go support them. Get your oil changed and get any maintenance done to your car. They specialize in tires. It's in the name, but they do it all. Thanks to Quentin Crowner and his team for supporting what we do here at Iowa Everywhere. Also, would love to give a shout out to Carbless. I could go for a Carbless right now. I still don't think that I've cooled down from this flight. I'm still hot. I've been chugging water since. Had a couple beers.
Take off your damn jacket.
I know. It just gets... You know how it is in an airport. It is so annoying to carry around stuff. I'll be fine. If the next flight's hot, I'm taking it off again. So, that's not the point. The point is, it's going to be hot in Iowa when I'm gone, I'm sure. Go grab a 4-pack or a variety pack of Carbless to enjoy while you're sitting on your deck grilling out, watching college football this weekend for Week 0. Carbless, they're a Midwest company, and they have some dang good flavors. I'm eyeing that cranberry one right now. I know I'm excited to have some Guinness and some Jameson over in Ireland, but I might be craving a sweet, sweet premium cocktail of Carbless. Thanks for their support of Iowa Everywhere. Let's talk a little bit about KU and Fresno State. I did some research into Fresno. Lost their quarterback, lost their top rusher, lost a few of their top receivers. I think the storyline for this one is exactly what Aiden is showing us. If you're watching on Spotify or on YouTube, it's the debut of their new half stadium.
At least they have running water and there's no more porta potty. So if they have running water and toilets now, that is a huge upgrade from what they've had in years past.
Yeah, I think for KU, a lot of this it's just vital for them to go win the game. They lost early last season to UNLV. That cannot happen again. They're favored in this game. They're favored significantly. This is a chance for Lance Leipold, Jalen Daniels to go out and show, yeah, 2025 kind of sucked. We had a lot of really bad breaks, and we're here. This is a game they should go win by 30. They should go win by 35. And if they're able to do that, they're 1-0 before most people's season starts. I'm looking for a spread. They're favored by 13, which surprises me a little bit. Maybe there's something on Fresno that I'm missing. But, man, give me the Jayhawks.
It's that new tight ends coach. You guys know who they have for tight end coach now?
Oh, man. Should I know?
Is it a former Iowa State guy?
Nope.
Tight ends coach.
Is it Antonio Gates?
It's one Brian Ferentz.
What?
Oh, wow.
How did I miss that?
I can't believe Lance actually hired him. I figured the last place
Wait.
you'd want...
Aiden, is Brian at Fresno or KU?
Fresno. Hold on.
He's at Fresno?
Wow. I did not know that. I thought he was still at Maryland. Good for Coach Ferentz.
I didn't even know he was at Maryland.
Good for Coach Ferentz.
You would think you would want that guy as far away as possible from your offense. So that kind of shocks me to see him still have a job somewhere.
Might switch my pick to Fresno. The Fighting Ferentzes pulling off the upset.
God. Could you imagine being a Fresno State fan and you see that hire, you're just so pissed off?
Well, I mean, he was a really good offensive line coach before he got the OC job. He's just not a play caller.
Obviously.
So that game is 6:30 on Fox. That's going to be kicking off 12:30 my time
It's for the sickos.
in Ireland. I'll be up. Don't worry. Do you want to do an instant reaction podcast to K-State or to KU Fresno? It'll be like 4 in the morning Ireland time.
We'll just talk about Brian Ferentz for an hour.
That could be one of those. That could be one of those all-time unreleased podcasts.
Bigger than 12 After Dark.
Dude, that'll be bigger than 12, like 2 hours before sunrise.
I think, in all seriousness, I think for me, this game is a chance for Kansas to get off to a strong start. Last season, you mentioned they struggled right away, and here you get an opportunity to get a win to start the year in your new stadium. Like, I feel like Kansas is honestly one of those teams that we don't know a lot about outside of Jaden Daniels. And speaking of Daniels, like, he needs to have a good game because he was a big reason why they were so bad early on last season with the mistakes, the turnovers, the interceptions. Just the decision-making from him alone was really, really bad early on. And then defensively, I think that's going to be where my focus is. Kansas stockpiled on a bunch of transfers on the defensive side of the ball. So, sure, Jalen Daniels is going to be fun to watch, but I want to see the weapons he has around him on offense, and I want to see how good this defense looks against Fresno State. I tried to do a little bit of research on the Bulldogs. They're picked to finish, I think, 4th in the Mountain West this season. They have a new head coach with Matt Entz. They return, I think, 3 starters offensively, 3 on defense. So I'm not expecting Fresno State to be this juggernaut with a veteran team or anything like that. So they have a lot of new faces there. So I expect Kansas to take care of business on Saturday. But for me, that's going to be my focus is the weapons around Jalen and then how that defense looks against Fresno State on Saturday.
I'll take the Jayhawks. The Brian Ferentz thing swung me a little bit, but I've come to my senses. I think the Jayhawks cover.
I can't believe we missed the Brian Ferentz thing. That to me is just wild and crazy.
Do we want to skip the Big 12 on TNT stuff?
I'll mention something quick about it because I know it was a very popular thing on X the other day. All I want to say is it's good for the Big 12 to play on TNT. I would rather play on TNT than FS2 or ESPN Plus. So that's the upside for the Big 12. I'm just curious to see how good of a job that they do with this because does TNT, how much do they care? Do they give a shit? Do they care about this conference? If you look at who they hired to their studio crew and then their play-by-play guys and color commentators and all that, not a single person and anybody that Aiden just pictured went to a Big 12 school. And how many of these guys actually have been to Big 12 stadiums? 2?
I know Mike Golick Jr. has. Mike Golick Jr. has been in Chris Williams' RV.
Well, that's one.
In the RV Village.
But everybody else across the board did not play for a Big 12 school. So, there are really no Big 12 ties here at all. So, again, good for the Big 12 to get with TNT. It's going to be better for the conference to get some more national exposure. You don't need satellite TV to watch TNT or anything like that. So, TNT, I feel like, is always one of those channels that no matter where you go, it's available. So, that to me is the positive upside for that. But I still feel like you could at least try to get some former Big 12 players in your even just in your studio crew. Maybe not the play-by-play guys, but
except for RG3.
I don't know how could he be worse than what's listed there?
Yeah, RG3 is bad. RG3 is terrible on TV. He was just the first he was the first TV guy that I think of as a former Big 12 guy. But I'm sure there's options. I'm sure there
had
plenty
to be
of
options out there.
What about oh gosh, I'm totally blanking on his name. What about Darren Sproles? That'd be awesome. Former K-State guy, or any old Oklahoma State quarterback.
You could find somebody out there. No, let's get a bunch of SEC and Big Ten guys to do this.
I think Victor Cruz will be good though. He's a cool guy.
Has anybody heard from Victor Cruz in the last 15 years since he left the Giants?
No, but he was cool when he was on the Giants, and I say that as a Cowboys fan. Allie LaForce is good.
Geez.
I know her from the NBA. That's where a lot of things. Like I know most of those people from NBA coverage, and I like the work they do. So, but I agree with you. It'd be nice to have one or two Big 12 representatives on the desk, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. It'll be a massive upgrade over ESPN Plus because we're actually going to have halftime shows that are talking about the game. It's not going to be like, all right, now we're going to take a cut. Now we're not going to take a cut out of Morgantown and head over back to the ESPN studios, and they're going to tell you about Mississippi State and Arkansas. At least we're going to get away from that, so it'll be an upgrade in my eyes.
I sure hope so.
All right, Aiden. It's time for some Iowa trivia.
All right. We're going to test Derek's Big 12 knowledge here. Jake, you should know this. What Iowan played at Kansas State but now currently coaches for the Cyclones?
Easy. Come on, Duke. Come on, man. You got this.
Played quarterback.
Oh. I feel like I
Chris
should know
Williams announced his high school football games.
It's true.
that
on the radio.
That does not help me one bit.
Wait, you want to listen to KMA radio?
I don't think I get that channel down here.
Some fan you are of Chris Williams.
I feel like I should know this answer, but I don't at all. It's a former quarterback.
You'll know the name. I don't know that you'll know, like, that he coached at Iowa State.
Well, he played at Kansas State and now coaches
Correct.
at Iowa State.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. It's not somebody who started for Kansas State. I can tell you that. Correct. Did start at Kansas.
Yeah.
You know,
He started.
whoa. Wait a minute. It's Jake Waters, isn't it?
Yes, there
It's
you
Jake
go.
Waters, okay.
There you go.
It took me a
pride
minute.
of-
I was like, yeah, okay. I remember
The
Jake.
pride of Southwest Iowa. Yep,
Aiden,
and
let's
he's
see.
now Iowa State's quarterbacks coach.
He was the quarterback for Kansas State in 2014. Is that correct? 13,
Let me
14?
pull it up quick. He
I remember
was
him
there.
for sure.
2013-14, yep.
There we go. See? It just
There
took
you
me a
go.
Went
minute.
to Council Bluffs St. Albert High School. They're a power.
Isn't
Smaller,
I mean
smaller
this is-
private school.
Okay, well I can't speak for private schools, but I mean Council Bluffs. Every time I think of Council Bluffs, I always think of Omaha.
Yeah, I mean Council Bluffs. They have two really good football programs between St. Albert and then Lewis Central's their big school. They've won a couple state titles in the past. That's where Max Duggan played high school ball.
That is true. I remember I thought when he said Iowan and quarterback, I was actually the first thing I thought of before he even finished the question was Max Duggan because I knew that. I'm trying to think. I went to a brewery actually in Council Bluffs on my way back to Omaha last time I was up there. Can't remember
Shocker.
what it was, but yeah, I know. Shocker. It's like, you know what? We just crossed the Iowa state lines. Let's go get a beer. I had to coming back from Nebraska, man. Sometimes you need a beer after you visit Nebraska.
So now that this family that was sitting next to me left, when Aiden brought up that Brian Ferentz was the quarterback's coach, I yelled "what" so loud, and I kind of forgot that I was in the airport and around other people.
You were that
It
guy?
was
You're the guy
yeah.
that yelled in the airport? Get all
yeah,
the attention?
I yelled like I was at home in the Channel Seed studios in my home office, but now I'm inside the Channel Seed studios of the Philadelphia airport, and I forgot, so that's on me. Sorry to that man who was around his young children that had to hear my shocking yell when I found out that Brian Ferentz is working in the Mountain West.
That's all right. He'll be all right.
If he's listening, just
I'm sure that's
just
not
in
going to be
case.
the worst part of their day in that airport. So
Yeah. All right, so let's close out with an Ireland draft. All things Ireland. It could be any item. Honestly, we didn't really set any parameters on this, so this could be all over the place. But what I do know about this draft is we're going to pick 4 things each, and it's sponsored by Whiskey River. What else could you want? Whiskey River is where
Always a good
when you're
time.
looking for a good time, you can get a good time. I love
Looking
Whiskey
for a
River.
good time?
I wish there was-
Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
Gosh, it's so loud in here that I've got my headphones up like twice as loud as I normally do, and that video about blew out my eardrums. But to answer the question, yes, I'm looking for a good time. So as soon as I get back from Ireland, trust me, I'm ready for the beer, the whiskey. I'm ready for the full Irish experience. I'm not 100% ready for the food. I know that when I'm there, I'm going to be craving a nice burger from Whiskey River. So hit up your local Whiskey River location, wherever's closer, Ames or Ankeny. Irish things. Aiden is going to come on and flip a coin, and I think this is a very important coin flip, maybe more so than normal.
As per usual, Sally Ride, shout out. Jake, you're the away team, call it in the air.
Heads.
It is heads.
I'll take Guinness first overall. Easy 1-1, no hesitation. I do like Guinness. I can't speak for Irish Guinness yet. I'm about to. I will about 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, 2 a.m. Iowa time. I will post my review of an authentic Irish Guinness. But I know, even based off of what I've had in the States, Guinness is easily my number one thing about Ireland, and it is an easy first overall pick for me.
You know, I think it's the most well-known thing about Ireland, and great. I mean, that's wonderful and all, but I think we need to discuss Guinness because I think it is absolute garbage. I do not like Guinness. I'm not going to even sit there and pretend I like a dark beer. If somebody handed me a Guinness, I would probably do whatever I could to get it out of my hands and into somebody else's. I don't do dark beer. Guinness to me is the most overrated beer that I can think of. And I know it's everybody's going to Ireland and everybody's excited about Guinness. I'd maybe order one just to say I had a Guinness in Ireland. But after that, I'm switching to my pick here, and I'm going Irish whiskey. I think any good Irish whiskey, you can, well, I'm not going to mention specific brands, but I mean, you could do a ginger ale and whiskey, or my personal favorite, you were talking about starting your morning with a Guinness beer. I would start my morning how I start every hangover morning on my vacations. You get an Irish coffee. That to me is the best thing when you wake up after a night of drinking. An Irish coffee to kick things off is the best way. That's exactly how I'm going to start my Saturday this week, is with an Irish coffee. So that's going to be my number one pick. My number two thing, we kind of didn't set, I guess, goalposts for this thing. I just took Irish pubs. Like, I don't know if I can take that, but I just took an Irish pub. Now, I've never been to Ireland, of course, but I love a good Irish pub. Like I mentioned, I can go get my Irish coffee if it's in the morning. You can do just the great foods at the pubs. You have all the different beers, the different whiskey choices. So a good Irish like pub bar is, to me, great place to be. And there's one particular that I know when Aiden's going to Vegas this week, I'm going to mention to him a good place for that. But I love a good Irish pub.
Well, and there's Cooney's on the north side of Des Moines and Beaverdale.
That is true.
Classic Irish pub.
I've been there.
I was there. I'm just going to go golf. I know it's technically a Scottish thing, but Ireland does have their own spotlight of golf, and they've got Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry. The Open Championship is there every few years. It'd be easier if we were drafting Scottish things for me to take golf, because I know the sport originated in Scotland, but I still think when you think of Ireland, golf is one thing that people think of. My next pick, I'm going to go St. Patrick's Day. I've always loved St. Patrick's Day, and there's nothing like inherently great about the holiday other than you just drink. Like, that's about all you do. But I've always associated St. Patrick's Day with spring break, with the weather getting nicer, with March Madness, and I've always just been a big St. Patrick's Day fan. Was that a reach of a pick?
My thing with St. Patrick's Day is like I don't need a day, I don't need an excuse to have a drink. So like every Saturday can be and Friday night can be St. Patrick's Day for me for all I give a shit. Like I do not care. I do not care about St. Patrick's Day. I'm not going to pretend I care about St. Patrick's Day. I'll drink any day. It does not matter to me. Golf, on the other hand, I'm not a big golf guy. I'm not going to pretend to be a golf guy either.
Yeah, I knew that.
Boy, I've got a lot of my options here. You know what? I'm going to take potatoes. I feel like Ireland is known for their potatoes. It's the best side dish literally for any food in any form. Whether you go mashed potatoes, scalloped potatoes, French fries, or how about a classic from Ireland, which I feel like really is kind of underrated as just a food for like a dinner, is a good shepherd's pie. I absolutely love those things. Those are absolutely delicious. I don't really make them or eat them very often, but very, very good. Boy. Is this my last pick now with pick number 4?
Correct.
I think I'm going to go with my Irish thing here. I think I'm going to take not a beer, not a food, not even a place. I'm going to take a person. I'm going to take Liam Neeson to round out my Irish draft.
Wow.
Classic, great actor. You just know when you're going to watch one of his movies that he is going to kill a lot of people. He's going to drop a lot of bodies. He's going to kick a lot of ass, and he's going to have some great like catchphrases. So anytime you sit there and you know you're going to watch a Liam Neeson movie, you're going to expect violence, and you're going to expect him to kick somebody's ass. And, you know, for those movies that you sit there and you don't really want to think about too hard, I think that is a perfect way for like a weekend movie or a weeknight movie during the week. So I'm going to take Liam Neeson to round out my Irish draft.
That's a good pick. I was not expecting that, but I do like where you're going with that. For mine, oh man, I'll just take the Cliffs of Moher. I think that's a fair one. I don't believe I'm going to get to see them when I'm here, but I've seen pictures. I know Williams was there. I believe Rob Gray was there. Beautiful scenery. You see them in movies all the time, and that is one of those things. When I think of Ireland, I think of the Cliffs of Moher. But I had a few honorable mentions. But I feel like some of them were too niche. Like I was going to take my family. I've got Irish blood in me. The Powers family is my mom's entire side of the family. They're all from Ireland, but I feel like that'd be a bit of a dick move to take my own family in the draft. Lucky Charms, elite cereal.
Oh.
But that's not really Irish. It's just Irish themed.
No,
Leprechauns.
get that out of here. That's disgusting.
Irish music. I do love Irish music. Shipping Up to Boston is a great song.
Do people in Ireland actually listen to that?
That's what I'm saying. It's a stretch because that's like Irish American music.
And it's
like
literally
that's
saying Boston.
Yeah, that's Boston music. But
I don't know.
I still think just the harps and the fiddles and the flutes of Irish music, I think is really unique and good. But yeah, this might be the week where I lose a draft, and I think it's our last one of the year. So, eventually I've got to lose, right? I've won like 7 in a row, but I don't want to end on a loss either.
This was by far your worst draft, I think. You stretched for a lot of them.
Well, I'm in a food court, man. I'm hot. I'm out of water. I'm out of beer.
I think it was a stretch for a lot of them. I think, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm the most cultured man in America. I'm not a big culture person, as you can tell. Yeah, some of the stuff you mentioned, I could honestly, I don't give two shits about. But it's your draft. It's not mine. I'm not going to pretend there and sit there. I like to drink Guinness and play golf because I couldn't imagine two worse things. I know that I couldn't do it. It's not for me. So, but I hope everybody has fun in Ireland. I would still go to Ireland in a heartbeat. I've never been, so I hope everybody has a great trip. Jake, you're going to be there for pretty much an entire week.
Yep, that's
So
right.
You're not only get to soak in the game, you're going to get to explore the scenes, the sights around the stadium. I think that's what I'm probably most like. I'm going to have FOMO for sure about it when I see everybody in the pubs drinking, Friday night before the game, Thursday before the game, whatever it is. And then, of course,
I can't wait.
the atmosphere there for that game, I think, is going to be absolutely incredible. So I'm really looking forward to it this week. And I don't know. I'm going back home this week. I might, I said I'd make a little Irish coffee. I'm going to see maybe if I can do like an Irish breakfast or something to kind of get in the spirit. So we'll see.
Awesome. Well, I cannot wait to recap the trip. I can't wait to recap the game next week on Bigger Than 12. We'll have to work out the schedule. I'm going to be traveling back, obviously, but once the season officially starts in week 1, I think our plan is to record on Sundays, and we're going to have much more of a fresh reaction to the Saturday slate than normal. Next week, look for a show probably Monday or Tuesday from us here on Bigger Than 12 and the Channel Seed Studios. Thank you for supporting all of our work through the offseason. We are finally here, fellas. And thank you. Like, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all of our great content on Bigger Than 12 and the whole Iowa Everywhere podcast network coming forward. This has been Bigger Than 12 in the Channel Seed Studios.